We have a very exciting guest today. I'm just thrilled beyond belief. Tony Mills, you are a naturalist with the Spring Island Trust, and you also have a terrific show that people can watch on SCE TV.
Yeah, Coastal Kingdom.
Yeah. And what's a more fascinating ecosystem than our marshes and our oceans and all the interactions between them?
Low country of South Carolina is awesome.
It sure
really is.
Yeah, we just live in a great state. And then if you're not interested in that, you can go to the mountains.
That's right.
So much variety. And so at the Spring Island Trust, y'all do a lot of research, I believe.
So we do a lot of education, but we also do some research as well. And so what we want people to realize is where they live is really special. So we figure if people understand where they are and understand how special it is, they're going to take better care of it.
Yeah. And not react with horror and think everything needs to be killed if they run into it.
Snakes, like we're talking about today.
Well, let's talk some about snakes. And they're venomous. You don't say poisonous, right?
Right. And very few of them are venomous. Yeah. So out of the 38 species we have in South Carolina, only 6 are venomous.
And a couple of those are all rattlesnakes, right?
Right. Three rattlesnake species.
Yeah.
But yeah, so most of the snakes you run into are completely harmless.
And they are doing a wonderful job. A lot of them eat rats, and some of them eat small toads and things like that. But they're just, finding their food in the environment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're good indicators of environmental health. So if the snakes all went away, that'd be horrible. It would mean that really bad things are happening.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that there are a lot of snakes in people's backyards, and they just leave them alone. Well, who should we start with?
So let's start with this one. I kind of have to feel the bag to tell.
Which?
I think I know what this is. But this is one that might surprise you. And this is one that's, I'll bet you recognize this, not even a snake.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So glass lizard or legless lizard, and it's a lizard. It's a lizard. It just doesn't have legs, so it really confuses people. Yeah. But the way you know it's a lizard, it has external ear openings, little holes right there.
Oh, okay.
And also it has eyelids, so it can shut its eyes.
Wow.
And that's a giveaway for sure. Okay. The other thing is the tail starts right here, and this is missing a big portion of the tail.
Sometimes they really do lose their tail.
They do, and then they can regenerate it. So, that's a dead giveaway too.
If somebody tries to catch him, the tail can snap off, and then it doesn't get eaten.
Right.
That's pretty
exactly.
funny.
Yeah, the front half of the lizard can crawl away. Predator can eat the tail, and but they don't want to lose the tail. The tail's
that's a lot of work to grow up. So what does this one eat?
So they eat mostly insects.
Okay.
So they're going to eat things like crickets and grasshoppers and things like that. But not a snake, but boy, an awful lot of people think it is a snake. Yeah. So when they see this, unfortunately, people kill these, and that's a real shame. They talk about doing good things in the garden, right? Or in your yard.
Beautiful coloration on its head too, isn't it?
Yep, they've got a very interesting sheen to them. They look like they're plastic or something. They don't look real in a lot of ways.
They're truly lovely. And so where do they lay their eggs and things like that?
So they'll lay their eggs underground, kind of in a rodent burrow, or they love sandy areas. So they're going to kind of go underground, lay the eggs, and of course the little lizard babies are only about this long.
Okay.
And it may take them, a couple of years to reach adult size.
This is a nice one.
This particular one's called an eastern glass lizard. We actually have several species in the state. So not a snake, but close. All snakes have to protect themselves, and this is a good example of that. This is one called a hog-nosed snake, and it's got that wonderful upturned nose. And did you remember what these do to protect themselves?
Yeah, they play dead.
So if you catch a hog-nosed snake, or if you see a hog-nosed snake and encounter it, first thing it may do, and let's see if this one will do this.
You said he's real used to people. So
this one has been in captivity for a long time. Now, some of these snakes I caught, but this one has been, there we go. It's kind of spreading its head like a cobra.
Yeah, trying to look real
Obviously,
dangerous.
It's not trying to look like a cobra. We don't have cobras here, but it may make it look bigger.
Yeah.
But what you were referring to is if you continue to bother it, next thing it would do, throw up a toad if it's recently eaten one. They're toad eaters.
Nobody wants to have snake vomit all over.
Throws up, and then it will turn over, hang its tongue out, and end up upside down, and it looks dead.
But if you go and try to turn it over again, it's just going to play dead
and
again.
if you try to make it look alive again, it's going to flip over and play dead again.
They are really, really fun. And I think, do they have some tiny bit of venom in back teeth?
They
or
do,
something?
yeah. So the back teeth are enlarged, and they use that for two things. One is to pop toads. Toads, when toads get, when they get attacked, they'll puff their bodies up with air.
Yeah.
So this is an animal that can actually punch a hole in the toad and let the air out, and then it can
Really?
swallow
Let
it.
the air out.
Otherwise, it's too big to swallow. But the other thing is those same teeth have some toxin to them, and it's not really dangerous to people, but it probably
Helps it.
Yeah, it probably helps it in some way. But it is potentially, if you got bit by one of these, and these typically don't bite at all, but if they did, it probably would cause a mild reaction. So, but this is one of my absolute favorites.
And I don't think, I've heard of people catching snakes and they've never had any trouble with it.
Oh yeah, because and like I said, they almost never bite.
Yeah.
The other thing that's interesting about this species is they can be solid jet black, melanistic like this, or they can have these real bright, vivid oranges and yellows and blacks. So they vary depending on where you find them. So this is another really common one. This is called a rat snake. And talk about, can you smell that? Yeah, it's got a rather pungent. It's got a lot of snakes will exude kind of a musky scent, and these actually have scent glands. And so look at that.
Whoa, dang, that's wonderful.
So try to get bit by this one, but obviously non-venomous.
Yeah.
But anyway, if they get kind of mad, what they'll do is exude that musk.
Yeah.
It's really pungent, probably deters all kinds of predators. And then it's important to realize that even non-venomous snakes like this rat snake will bite sometimes.
Sure.
And they look fierce, but that doesn't mean they're dangerous, and it doesn't mean they should be killed.
It'd be nice to have him in your attic.
Oh yeah, they're great climbers. And
I've seen them just go up the concrete walls. Just
unbelievable athletes.
I don't know how they do it.
And the other thing is they eat mice and rats.
Yeah.
So, and in some cases, the really big ones, because these get 6 feet long or so, can eat squirrels.
Wow.
And squirrels can be kind of pesky too.
They're pesky in the attic too. But they're good to have in the attic if you.
They are. And one of the things that's interesting about this, like where we are on the coast, they're striped and greenish or yellowish. But if you go in the upstate, they're black. Oh. Same snake.
Do you think that's
black rat snake
of the ecology up there?
I don't think we really know. But if you move from the coast up towards the mountains, they go from they start to get darker. Yeah. So they're grayish in certain parts of the state, and then, like I said, on the coast, this one's been amazingly good. Yeah.
Where'd you find him?
This is one I caught underneath a piece of it's part of my research. Yeah, underneath the piece of tin, under a coverboard object that we use for our research. And one of the things we do with these snakes is we inject a pit tag, a passive integrated transponder, which is like what you put in your dog. And so
you can put it in the snake?
You can put it in the snake, insert it in the body, and then you know who that snake is. Rat snake's very common. This one, maybe even more common. And I think this one's probably going to come right out of the bag. And so that was interesting the way it came out of the bag.
Isn't that something? He was ready to
That's what they do. So if you see one of these in your yard, it may well move around with its head up.
My goodness.
Almost like, see how it's got his head up a little bit?
Look at that. And it gets a better view.
Yeah, they're very visual predators. So this is one that's going to eat small mammals. It's going to eat a lot of lizards, and it's going to just patrol around with its head up. It's called a black racer. This is, as I said, super common. Now they're feisty. So if you pick up a black racer, I can't believe how nice this one is.
He's behaving right now. But is he used to you?
No, I caught it yesterday.
Oh, whoa. Oh, he's a new one.
So this is one that was...
My goodness.
This is another one I checked to see if it had a pit tag in it. But this is not characteristic. This may be the nicest black racer I've ever met.
Hey, fella, glad you came to see us.
Because normally they're... But again, that aggression is protection. There's a big difference. This doesn't want to have anything to do with the person.
Now, sometimes people hold them behind the head. Is that correct? Yeah. And that can keep them from biting you if they were so inclined.
Yeah, and I think if you want to move a snake, there's all sorts of things you can do. Like you could take a rake or something and pick it up carefully and keep your hands away from it. I guess the first thing is you got to know what you're looking at. Yeah. Because if you pick up a venomous snake, it's extremely dangerous. So what you want to do is learn to identify the snakes first. And it's not that hard. Learn the 6 venomous snakes. Like I said, there are only 6 in the whole state. And as long as you know
And
those.
most of them look very different. They're very different from this.
Right.
We had a rattlesnake in the yard a couple of years ago, and everybody was, and I said, it's not going to stay here.
Yeah, they're moving. A lot of times they're moving through. But anyway, these get big. So, we've seen these up to 5 feet long, very fast.
And people used to have all kinds of strange names like coach whips and things.
Yeah, so the coach whip snake's another one we have in the state, pretty uncommon to see, but that's got that great myth. So coach whip snakes, as you know, supposedly would chase you down, and then they would whip you to death with their tail. And then I've even heard people say they use the tip of their tail to see if you're still breathing, I guess, once they've whipped you. But the story gets really ridiculous.
Yeah, it does,
In reality, coach whip snakes will thrash if you pick one up, and they're very fast. And I think they look like a braided whip. I mean, the tail looks like a whip, so I'm sure that's where the myth came from.
Very handsome.
But notice, very visual animal, and you can tell that it's fast and athletic.
Like to keep his head up to look.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them just sitting with just the head up like a periscope above the grass.
Do they have a good sense of smell? Or receptors that give them information?
Exactly. It's very much like a sense of smell. So that tongue is going out in the air, picking up little chemical signals, transferring them to the roof of the mouth, to the Jacobson's organ, and it's highly specialized. And so this animal can tell, has a mouse crawled by? Is there a lizard nearby? And most importantly, see, didn't do anything. The important thing is to not panic, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to hold him behind the head from now on, like you suggested earlier. So we looked at the rat snake. There's a cousin of that called a corn snake. And so this is much prettier, right?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So that's one that is the same genus, Pantherophis, as the rat snake, but it's gutata. It's a different species.
Isn't he just gorgeous?
Some people call this a red rat snake. And they are gorgeous. The ones in the low country of South Carolina are beautiful. Some of them are even brighter and more vivid than that.
It is truly spectacular.
But the fabulous belly, that wonderful checkerboard belly.
This. Isn't it? I mean, everything about it is just, and they very, very, very seldom bite, although he did get a little.
Every now and then. And again, any non-venomous snake may bite you just to protect itself. Yeah.
Wrapped around my neck for a while.
Keep away from your eyes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll put it like that. Yeah. Okay.
So this is one that, I think this is one of the prettiest snakes in the world.
Truly beautiful. Yeah.
And again,
on both
beneficial.
Sides. Yeah, up and down. Yeah.
So
eating what?
So these eat primarily mice and rats. As they get bigger, they can eat cotton rats.
Just another great thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now, some snakes, like that racer, will eat almost anything. They'll eat other snakes. They'll eat birds. They'll eat lizards, just about anything they can run down. This one's a little more specialized. And the other thing is the little guys will eat tree frogs and lizards and then graduate up to mice and rats.
Because I don't want the tree frogs and lizards to get,
Yeah, exactly. But they got to, it's hard to find a mouse small enough for a baby snake to eat.
Yeah.
I think let's talk snake protection again.
Okay.
Okay, obviously this is not a real one. This is, well, you know this one is, coral snake.
Yeah. Red and yellow kill a fella.
Right. So this is a venomous species. It is not very common in the state, although coastal South Carolina, places like Ladies Island and some of the areas
and where you are.
Near where we are, they're not on Spring Island, but they're just spotty. But where they are, there can be lots of them. And so it is a very venomous snake. In fact, 5 of our 6 snakes are pit vipers. This is basically a cobra. It's an elapid. And Elapidae is a family that includes kraits and cobras and coral snakes. And so this would be a big one. Normally they're smaller than this, but they don't have that big triangular shaped head like a pit viper would. But what's important to realize is we also have one that looks like it that's completely harmless.
Yes.
And this is the scarlet king snake.
Yeah.
And so they really, side by side, or at least they really don't.
And they're different from individuals to individuals, too.
Exactly. And I wish I had a real coral snake to show you. We'd be handling it slightly differently. But so one of the best ways to protect yourself is to either be dangerous or to look like something that is.
Yeah.
In this case, here's a mimic. And, everybody's heard that rhyme, red on yellow, kill a fellow, red on black, friend of Jack. And that would be, so this would be the red on yellow one. But I always say, if you have to remember the rhyme, you probably shouldn't be picking up this.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard that of people who get bitten by a snake, about 85% of them knew the snake was there, and they very frequently were messing with the snake.
Yeah.
I mean, don't do that.
And many more males than females. And I don't know what that means, but it's definitely true. This is one that I've worked with a bunch. And king snakes, their numbers have declined drastically throughout much of their range. Question is why? Is it habitat destruction? Is it fungal disease that snakes can get? We don't really know for sure. But one thing's for sure, we don't want to lose king snakes.
Yeah.
And first of all, they're magnificent.
Boy, handsome,
and we have to really keep these two apart. Because this would eat that. Well, you're fine. You're fine where you are. But I just mean if I reach over towards you, stop me. And this one right away is already tongue flicking.
Oh,
he's like, I smell racer, I smell rat snake, I smell a corn snake.
It's not my perfume.
Because this is a snake eater. This is a snake that eats, can kill and eat pretty much any snake it runs across, including venomous species. Yes. So copperheads, rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, the famous water moccasin, it will kill them and eat them. And I think you were telling me a story earlier about.
Yeah, my husband was riding his bicycle around and saw this fight, and he watched it for about a half an hour, and finally it was just a draw.
It may have been a little too big for it to swallow. Yeah. But they're constrictors, so what they'll do is grab another snake, and then they wrap it up with real tight little coils, and then they wait until it's dead, it suffocates, takes a long time actually, and then they'll swallow it whole.
Gosh. And they could swallow a fairly large snake.
This could eat a full-grown copperhead, no problem. Gosh. Remember, snakes have the ability to stretch the neck and the mouth a great deal. And so this could, and I've even seen king snakes swallow slender snakes, like green snakes and ribbon snakes, that were longer than themselves.
Wow.
So they can, what they can do is kind of pack it in the body. But this is a special one for sure. And again, you really have to be careful when you lose species like this. So if any species of animal, if we lose it, you got to wonder what kind of effect is it going to have on other animals and why is it happening?
So they're indicator species?
They really are. Yeah. So if your snakes are all gone, just like, other things like sharks and big, certain big fish species, that's a really bad sign for the environment. Ecology. Yeah. And so one of the things that I've been doing is doing some research with this species and actually working with these little guys. And so here's a little junior king snake that was just hatched out. Okay. And so this is what we're doing with these is releasing babies. Of course, we have permits and everything to do this. Yeah. And what we're doing is just seeing if we can kind of augment populations. In other words, if king snakes are not in an area, well, if they are there, can we add to the king snakes that are already there?
Well, I'm standing up and moving back just a little bit because I think we're going to see a venomous snake.
Yeah, so this is one of the most common venomous snakes. In fact, I think it is the most common venomous snake that we have in the state. And I've got a bucket here, and I'm going to reach down and just pick it up on the stick.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Oh, they are one of the prettiest snakes of all. And this of course, is the copperhead. It's a pit viper, and big wedge-shaped head and chunky body too. So in general, non-venomous snakes here are long and slender, and the pit vipers are much, much chunkier for sure. Now the problem with that is we have some water snakes and some other things, hognose snakes, that are chunky as well. So it's not always a venomous snake, but boy, that head is characteristic for sure. Now this is one that's interesting because as a baby, the babies are only about this big, but they have a bright yellow tail tip. In fact, it looks like the tip was painted with a
Sharpie or something,
or a fluorescent marker or something. And that is something they use called a caudal lure. And so what they'll do is take that tail, kind of wiggle it, and it looks like a little worm or something. And frogs and other things will come in. I guess I better watch the snake for a minute, see if I can get a better. There we go. So it will. Okay, not good. Hold on just a minute. Sorry, guys. There we go.
Okay.
So it can move that tail, and when it does, it looks like a little worm or something, or a frog or a lizard comes to investigate. They bite it, and they envenomate it, and then they swallow it. Now, one of the things that's true about copperheads, this is probably the least dangerous venomous snake in the United States. It's certainly one of them. But that doesn't mean it's not serious to get bit by one. So you don't want to get bit for sure. But as far as I know, no one has ever died from the bite of a copperhead. But that doesn't mean you don't need medical attention.
Yes, I would certainly go to the
In the
emergency.
past, people, there are all these stories about people, slicing, cutting it open and sucking the venom out. None of that. You just want to get to a hospital and let a medical professional deal with it.
Well, I just want to thank you so much. I don't know when I've had such a good time, and I hope you'll let me come down and visit you in the Low Country.
Well, I would certainly appreciate being here. This was great.
Okay, thanks so much.